one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story comes to us from 4 WWL CBS. The strip search lasted just 6 minutes, but when it ended, Jarius Brown had a broken nose, a fractured eye socket, and a badly swollen face. Never before published footage shows why 2 Louisiana sheriff's deputies pummeled the naked 25-year-old, flinging him around the DeSoto Parish Center laundry room while launching a flurry of 50-50 punches. In the aftermath of the 2019 assault, one of the deputies resigned and the other was suspended. Internal records show the sheriff's office concluded there was no way of defending the deputy's actions. Well, did you charge him with a crime? Yet that's just what the Louisiana State Police did. An Associated Press investigation found after waiting months to analyze the graphic video and more than a year even to interview Brown, the agency, the state police, cleared the deputies of wrongdoing. The state police ultimately supported the deputies' claims that Brown was the aggressor in an altercation that took place after he had been arrested on charges of stealing a car. The case might have ended there had federal prosecutors not eventually got involved and came to an opposite conclusion. Brown had been the victim of excessive force, of course. The graphic footage remained under wraps for 6 years, but emerged this month in Brown's long-running lawsuit seeking damages for his injuries. Brown, who's now 32, declined to comment through his attorneys. Gary Evans, a former DeSoto Parish District Attorney, said the case underscores the safety net the Justice Department long provided in smaller communities, a role many advocates fear has been thrown into doubt as the department dials back its civil rights enforcement amid President Donald Trump's mandate to unleash the police. Evans said this was a great miscarriage of justice at the state level, and it shows the system has broken down and does not protect its citizens. In a community like this, the federal government is the only avenue for anything to get done, said Evans. Now, Brown's beating was just the latest in a litany of police misconduct cases in DeSoto Parish, a rural swath of piney woods and rolling farmlands south of Shreveport, Louisiana. A month before Brown was pummeled, another deputy was charged with malfeasance after tackling and repeatedly punching a man walking into a grocery store. He agreed to a permanent ban from law enforcement in exchange for the charges being dismissed. No more law enforcement for you. In another case, a DeSoto Parish deputy was charged with third-degree rape after ordering a woman he arrested to perform oral sex on him. Now, Russell Graham, a state police spokesperson, declined to explain his agency conclusion that there was not sufficient evidence in the Brown case that the deputies had committed a crime. He attributed delays in the investigation to the COVID-19 pandemic, which began 6 months after the beating. Louisiana State Police remains committed to thorough, impartial investigations and working with partners to ensure accountability and uphold public trust. That's what Graham wrote in an email. The agency concluded a thorough investigation of this matter when it was presented to them. Bull crap. Let me say something about this, Graham. You're the problem with America. I'm sorry, you are. I'm trying not to. I gotta say it. You're the problem, dude. A naked man was beat in a laundry room, and your agency said, well, look at the guy. He's punching back at the deputies. That's called defending yourself. Former Deputy Javaria Pouncey pleaded guilty to using excessive force and was sentenced last year to serve about 3 years in federal prison. He could not be reached for comment. The other deputy, DeMarcus Grant, who pleaded guilty to obstructing justice, was released from prison in April after serving a 10-month sentence. Grant told AP he was still stressed out and had lost a lot as a result of his conviction. Yeah. He declined to say whether he regretted the beating. He said, "What has happened has happened. Whatever." Use of force experts question the divergent outcomes at the state and federal levels, saying Brown never posed a threat and the beating was excessive. The grainy footage shows a handcuffed Brown calmly walking into the jail's laundry room before disrobing. The beating begins halfway through the search after the deputies confront Brown for not squatting as directed so they could fully search him. Neither deputy sought medical care for Brown after the beating, but the warden recognized the man needed attention and ensured he was taken to the hospital. He said, "I don't know how any objective evaluator of this incident could determine this was anything but excessive," said Charles Joe Key, who's a former Baltimore police lieutenant, who typically testifies in defense of police and reviewed the footage at AP's request. Andrew Scott, a former police chief of Boca Raton, Florida, said there was nothing on the video that would have justified the beating. He could only surmise the deputies were delivering retribution. Any police official who justified the beating after watching the video, Scott added, is not a competent or truthful expert. Go. Within days of the beating, DeSoto Parish Sheriff Jason Richardson suspended Grant and elicited Pouncey's resignation. He defended the state police probe in a recent interview, saying federal and state reviews weren't an apples-to-apples comparison due to a differing criminal statutes. Oh, shut up, Blue Line supporter. Evans, the former district attorney, said local officials reportedly thwarted his efforts to obtain the video. Louisiana State Police ultimately provided the beating video to Evans' successor, Charles Adams, who closed the investigation in 2021. Regardless of what the video shows, Adams told AP the state police report would have made a state prosecution very difficult, if not impossible, because it concluded there wasn't enough evidence of a crime. Of course, there were cops. Said that report would have been brought out and beat over our head, said Adams. The state police report describes Brown as the aggressor and said the man told troopers he was probably high when he was attacked, but that officers took appropriate action against him. Cops, man. State investigators also concluded the footage supported the deputies' accounts of the attack. The U.S. Justice Department, however, charged both deputies with falsifying their reports, which Grant admitted were fabricated to create a false narrative. Well, most police reports are. Weeks after the September 2019 beating at the jail, Brown pleaded guilty to unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and was sentenced to 18 months behind bars. State police interviewed Brown in jail early 2021 and reported he did not want anything done about the beating and was not interested in pursuing the matter criminally or civilly. I don't believe the police. I don't believe that. A local judge, Amy McCartney, dismissed the lawsuit Brown filed against the deputies, ruling in 2023 the beating did not constitute a crime of violence. What the hell's going on? An appeals court reversed that decision, and Brown's lawyers are seeking damages for his injuries and medical expenses. Jarius Brown survived a horrific, unprovoked beating, said Brown's attorney Michael Ambrosio, adding he is entitled to justice. Damn straight. Brown also is represented by the American Civil Liberties Union of Louisiana, which fought a lengthy legal battle related to the state's statute of limitations on civil claims stemming from police violence. Brown's father, Derek Washington, said the attack sent his son's already unstable mental capacity into a more severe case of schizophrenia and anxiety. Today, Brown's fearful of crowds and closed-in spaces, he said, and cannot function in society. He always thinks someone is trying to harm him physically, said Washington. He went on, right now my son is just a stranger and I just want to get some semblance of him back. I mean, it's changed him. But the gist of this thing, the whole gist is You have deputies that beat a naked man in a laundry room, 50 punches on a naked guy. And then you have the state police that go, well, there's no crime. Why? He's a cop. Come on, shut up. He's a cop. Yeah, shut up. They're cops, man. There's no crime. Because police will always justify other cops. You guys got to learn that. Cops aren't going to turn on other cops. It's a gang. I hate myself saying that because, a part of me, and maybe it's the part that I was raised by, wants to say, there's good cops out there. But then I see stuff like this where the state police said, well, there's no crime. 50 punches on a naked guy, that's not a crime. That's not excessive force. And you got these experts who were law enforcement and district attorney saying, yeah, that's excessive force, dude. That's way excessive. Why couldn't the state police find that? And the one guy, well, tell you what, if you never be a cop again, we'll give you a slap on the hand. How about that? Okay. And he'll move to New York and become part of the NYPD. Watch. But if you or I jump a guy in a laundry room who's naked and beat him 50 times, we're going to jail for assault, prison. We're looking at 10 years. But if you have a badge and a state law enforcement certification, hell, you can do whatever you want. And the only way you'll end up going to jail or prison is if it becomes national news. That's what I'm here for. Guys, spread this video around.